So I'm here in Cannes at the ICCO House of PR with Sue and Angela, the ladies who run Global Women in PR. So I think you're about to have your first event here tomorrow, aren't you? And what are you looking to get out of it?
Opening the debate further into flexible working. One of the issues that came out of a survey that we did last year was how do we look at the workplace in relation to helping both women and men achieve the best out of their career. And one of the issues that came to the fore was flexibility in the workplace, how you address it, how you approach it, what the best solutions are. And we've got 3 very interesting speakers talking about different aspects to it. So I'm hoping that we will keep the debate going, start a dialogue, people can tune into some of the solutions that have been found, and that we can move things forward.
Now, last year's number, as I recall, was about a £12,000 gap, wasn't it?
Yes, it was
Do
£12,600.
you think that will have moved on over the year?
Well, we would hope so. I think it is moving on, but it's a very, very, very slow progress. And that's why we feel it's important that we actually benchmark it, which we did last year with the first Global Women in PR survey. And we also want to extend the reach. As an organisation, last year we had 12 countries because we launched in 2015. This year we're going to have 20 countries participating. Thankfully, a lot of them are taking part through ICCO, through the trade associations, so they're distributing the questionnaires for the survey this year to their members that way. And we're actually launching that this week as well during Cannes. So it'll be fabulous to get, we're hoping, a lot of responses. Then we'll be able to benchmark what's happening with the global gender pay gap. And also the other really important issue that came out of last year's survey was the percentage of women in the boardroom, which was very low. It was something like 19% of women in the industry, agency and in-house, getting into the boardroom. And that's something that we really want to change and draw attention to.
Now that move from 12 countries to 20 countries suggests that people take this seriously, see it as a significant issue. Do you think that's the case? Is it now at the top of people's agenda?
I think that the issue is taken more seriously. I think you can't these days pick up a national newspaper or read business reporting that doesn't in some way reflect on pay and the gender pay gap. And it's obviously not just in our industry, it's a universal issue that has come to attention. And I think even more significantly, there have been so many reports of late that indicate that if you move towards having a more balanced boardroom, it leads to a more profitable business. So there's an incredibly strong business argument for creating more balance and also creating more diversity. That's, it's not just about women and men, it's also about diversity. And again, it's an issue that's not just limited to PR, but it's something that we are in our industry very aware of the need to address.
With that data, and I accept the data is compelling, and that imperative to change, why do you think change has been slow so far? Because, as you say, we still have a very small proportion of women in the boardroom, we've got a significant pay gap. Why do you think we haven't addressed it so far?
I think it comes from 2 areas. I mean, one is the traditional corporate culture, which, and even if you look at the very biggest global public relations consultancies, maybe part of major media groups, there are still men, middle-aged men in suits leading these as CEOs. And that takes time to change the corporate culture. The other problem that we've got with women is, and we know this from a lot of research, is that women lack confidence. So they're not actually putting themselves forward for promotion and pay rises. That came out of our survey last year, and we are actually repeating those questions this year. And to address confidence is actually a big issue because that comes from the women themselves. And one thing that we're doing this year is we're going to be launching with ICCO a training seminar. The first one that we're launching later this year will be on leadership skills. So again, this is another pragmatic and practical way to try and help women succeed. And I think the other thing that's important to say on the gender pay issue is that in this industry it's particularly insidious, is that right? Well, yes, because it's 2/3 of the industry is women. I mean, that's a crazy situation to be in when, we know that also from our research and through the trade associations that it's 60 to 70% women all over the world. So, we need to have parity there.
If there was one call to action to the industry, what would it be?
There's a good question.
Oh gosh, that's a really good question, Francis. You got me on the left foot.
What about publicising, as the PRCA are pushing for, publicising gender pay, so that you can actually, with transparency, see the male salaries versus the female salaries? And that shouldn't be, as it is in the UK legislation, in government legislation, just 250 employees and above. It should be for smaller businesses too.
Well, as you know, the PRCA publish their own gender pay gap and put together a tool that's available to anyone that they can use to publish their own. Sue, your one action point?
I would start looking at the culture and what it is about the culture within an organisation that is holding back from actually creating a workplace that empowers both men and women to do their best. And I really do think that is a fundamental reason why we continue to do more of the same. There is no reason with 24-hour news and an ability to work anywhere in the world that you can't create a flexible base to facilitate a better workplace that enables working mums, working dads to take, to work with clients if necessary at midnight. It doesn't have to be between the hours of 8 and 6 o'clock.
So there we go. One practical point, publish your pay gap. One cultural point, change the culture. Thank you very much indeed for being in the ICCO House of PR, and I think it's going to be a great time here in Cannes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Francis.
Thanks, Francis.
Thank you.
Thank you, ICCO.